Hello and welcome to my AWS cloud project walkthrough. And the business model I chose is EduWords. EduWords is a edtech learning platform on which is based on cloud on and which users can access e-learning material and stuff to study. Ebooks, e-videos, and libraries available. So this is based on cloud and beginning with IAM. So, firstly, for identity and access management, I assigned all necessary permissions to the predefined IAM role called lab role. Here are the different role names. Here's the lab role. If you can see, lab role is attached to my EC2 instance, allowing it to securely interact with AWS services such as CloudWatch and RDS. Next, coming to the VPC, I created a virtual private cloud with two availability zones, one public and one private. Coming to this, you can see here AWS VPC, one US East, one A. There are two public and two private subnets. I attached internet gateway to enable internet access for resources in the public subnet and set up a NAT gateway to allow private subnet instances to access the internet securely. Here's the subnet. If I go to the subnet, you can see there is one private, one public, and again one private and one public. There are two private and two public. One of these, if I go to, for example, private, it's attached to the internet gateway, and another one I have attached it to the NAT gateway. Coming to the route tables, I also configured the route tables to control traffic flow between the subnets. These are the route tables which have been created, public and two private. In this public one, EduWords RTB public, there are two subnets. So these are the routers, and this, these are two subnets, one and two private, one B in two availability zones, US 1A and 1B. Then I created a security group allowing inbound HTTP traffic on port 80 and SSH access on port 22. These are the details of the security group I created named Web Server SG with three inbound rules and one outbound rules. Description is allow SSH and HTTP access to developers. Coming the inbound rules, MySQL Aurora HTTP. The port range is HTTP SSH is 22 and MySQL in Aurora is 3306. The next thing, we launched an EC2 instance using Amazon Linux AMI. The instance was placed in the public subnet and the security group was applied. Coming to the EC2, we also deployed a web feature on the EC2 instance. So I connected via SSH and set up a simple Python based web server using Flask. And here's my instance. Here is the instance, the EduVerse web server instance. The server displays a basic web page that's accessible through the instance public IP address. I tested the feature to ensure it's running and accessible to the web. If we open this address and take this, click it here. I have to connect this to my Git to launch, and my Git is not connected. But yeah, so this will show the EduVerse web page, and this app is running on Flask server. The next task was to support future scaling and security, and I enabled termination protection on the EC2 instance to prevent accidental deletions. If we go to monitor and troubleshoot, and you see, wait one second. instance state. This is the instance state, and state and alarms I go to. See, everything is perfectly working, and I've attached EBC status check, instance status check, system status checks, monitoring. Let's go to monitoring. This is the cloud watch monitoring I did, and this is the CPU utilization, network in byte, out byte, network packets, metadata, CPU credit balance. This is all for this web server. Coming to the next part is my CloudWatch monitoring, which I did using CloudWatch. To support future scaling and security, I enabled termination protection on the EC2 instance to prevent accidental deletion. We upgraded the instance type to a more powerful version to handle increased traffic. If we go here to the dashboards, we created a monitoring so that our EC2, all the usage and usability and network packets are monitored within. So if we go to the EC2, let's go to EC2 one by one. We'll do so. EC2 load. So this is my EC2 usage from past 3-4 days. I've been making the project, so we have used this. So this is what. Let's go to the next step. Storage and expansion and backup. Let's go to EBS. For storage expansion, we created a new EBS volume and attached it to my Elastic Block Store. Inside the instance, I formatted the volume and mounted it to a directory using standard Linux commands. I also created a EBS snapshot to back up the volume and enabling recovery and replication in the future. This here are the different sizes and the volumes I've attached to the EC2. Task 6, coming to the RDS, Aurora and RDS. For the database layer, I launched a MySQL RDS instance with a custom DB subnet group. I configured the associated security group to allow connections from my EC2 instance. I verified the connection by using, here we go to databases. So basically I've made the database, and also we will be taking you towards the screenshots where you can see the evidence of how each and every step I have gone through in this. There were some challenges we faced together, but we came over it. So this is the AWS database, AWS, which is deployed perfectly, no problem. And the size here you can see it's T3 micro. Earlier it was T2, and I have upgraded in the back step. I was given an instance scaling task in which I have made it to T3 micro for a bigger size. Coming to the last part which I used as a service was auto scaling and load balancer. So basically, auto scaling, my platform on the cloud used not a lot of space, but here I've made a ASG group, AWS ASG group, which is currently with 2 instances. Desired capacity is 2, minimum is 1, and maximum is 3. So basically, if there is a lot of load and there is amount of storage to be increased, automatically this will increase it to 3 or take it back to 1, and the desired capacity is minimum is 2. Accordingly it will auto scaling is this. So automatic scaling, you can see dynamic, it will auto scale and then come back. Load balancer, coming to the load balancer, I also made a load balancer group to balance the code load perfectly. One is this, ASG groups are also there, and AWS ALB. This is the VPC connected, and I have made it internet facing scheme, and the load balancer type used is application. And by this, all the tasks have been completed. This concludes my AWS project walkthrough. I have demonstrated the implementation of core cloud computing practices, including
Hello everyone, my name is Patel. I'll take you through the screenshots of the project. So here is how we created the VPC, internet gateways, net gateways, instance, EC2 instance. I use the key pair.pem file and connected to the git EC2 and wrote commands in the terminal to launch the web app, which is the AWS web page. Welcome to the AWS web page app. These are the volumes. This is the EC2 dashboard, monitoring dashboard, CloudWatch CPU usage network in and out. All of these are dashboards. Here we created the database, security groups, and again connected to the terminal. Here is a verification of the successful data. You can see MySQL configuration. Auto scaling load balancing configuration, AMI and launch template to the target group. Thank you.